Golf lover, join in on fun discussions about golf from the perspective of two plugged-in Minnesota golf geeks, Brad Cole and David Branstad. This is 10,000 Swings.
Hello and welcome back to 10,000 Swings. It is Monday, September 6th, 2021. I'm Brad Cole.
I'm David Branstad.
And I am Phil Mackey. And
Phil
this
Mackey.
is 2020. No, this is 10,000 Swings.
Is that Barbara Walters there?
I'm Barbara Walters, where they go through all the different,
10,000 Swings is brought to you by Jarrett Yalen with Northwestern Mutual. For whatever financial questions you have, call Jarrett Yalen with Northwestern Mutual today at 612-209-4523 or check out jarrettyalen.com. I also heard rumors that Jarrett was actually out at Eastlake this weekend sprinting alongside Joaquin Niemann at the Tour Championship, trying to get him, give him some financial help in between the less than 2 hour 18-hole sprint he ran. So Jarrett's all over the place. He's helping people left and right. Give him a call today. We've got a great show this week that might include the Tour Championship that I was just talking about, the Solheim Cup, the Korn Ferry Tour Finals, and maybe even a little college golf.
If you're a golf lover, join in on fun discussions about golf from the perspective of two plugged-in Minnesota golf geeks, Brad Cole and David.
You got the itchy trigger finger there. I don't know if that was me or Branny that fired that.
That was me. I was trying to get dust off my computer and just completely redid that.
That's okay. Let's just keep going.
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Exactly.
I tell you what, folks, we are late in the golf season. People are where they're dropping it left and right. Brandy's got a semi-functional keyboard. He's got a non-functional throat. We're really looking for the snow to fly.
That's our
soon,
way
folks.
of yelling in the background while Brad's trying to get through the reeds, set up the show. Hey,
If you're a golf lover,
Loud noises. I don't know what we're yelling about. Man, Brad Cole joined by Brick Tamblin and friends. Champ, what do you got for us?
I love
boy.
I love Lamp. So, folks, we are going to talk about golf at some point here. We have the one and only Phil Mackey here. The Tour Championship this week. We have to start off, and this is the number one thing I want to talk about, so it's great that it starts early in the show, the staggered start. I know why the Tour does the staggered start. I understand it. I know that they don't want the champion of the FedEx Cup to be different than the champion of the Tour Championship. I get it. I understand it. But come on, a staggered start? If you look at it, it just seems like a weird way to start a golf tournament. Like, Phil goes to the first tee against me, and he already knows that I've got a few strokes on him, but I'm not like starting at 10 under. He's starting at 5 under. Like, if he plays well, he's going to beat me that day, right? Like, it just seems so weird. Don't you think, Phil?
So I'm going to ask a dumb question. Was this the first year they did that?
This was either year 2 or year 3.
Okay, because I thought so. 19 when Rory won it, I think was the first year they did it.
This is year 3 of it.
Okay, and because I was trying to think back, I'm like, did Tiger? What was Tiger? Where was he staggered? But Tiger was the last winner of the previous format, where everyone came in and it was just a free for all, right? I will say that the battle between Rahm and Cantlay was great down the stretch, and it did feel like a normal big tournament on at least the back nine on Sunday. But it was tough to watch some of these other guys. Like Kevin Na was playing out of his mind. Like Kevin Na had 2 bogeys all week basically, and he's 6 strokes back the entire Sunday. So I guess if you want the best possible golf tournament, start everyone from even par. But if you're looking for the most fair way to crown a FedEx Cup champion, and you're looking for the best way to put the number one player in the FedEx standings in the best spot to win it all, then I get why they want to do this, but it makes the tournament less fun to watch and sweat.
It just seemed like Patrick Cantlay got off to such a great start, and I kept saying it on Thursday. I'm like, man, he's really going low. And I'm like, oh, wait. they spotted him 10, right?
Shot 22 on the front. It's crazy. Guy's nuts.
I actually thought for a brief moment, like, is this the leaderboard from last week? Like, what just happened?
Refresh.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I get it. That's right. They came up with a stupid format for for this.
Is
I
there
don't like
another?
it.
Is
I
there
just
another
don't
solution?
Like it.
Like, what would the so what they're worried about, right? Is 30 golfers come in. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of examples of this, I'm sure, prior to 2019. But 30 golfers come in, and the guy ranked 12th wins this tournament, and it's, or I guess what you're looking for is the guy who's ranked first finishes 15th or something, and you wind up having a different. I don't know why it's such a big deal that the winner of this tournament and the winner of the FedEx Cup have to be the same person. Why can't it be different people?
And the player of the year is a different person too. Like, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that Jon Rahm is the player of the year this year. Like, his statistics,
100%.
his numbers, it's not even a conversation. Had it not been to multiple COVID things that crushed him, like, Jon Rahm ran away with player of the year this year. He played unbelievably well, and he tied for first this week, right? Like, Jon Rahm outplayed Patrick Cantlay, and that's what's just hard for me. Is it's like, why can't we just have all these things be different? Like, why can't there be a Tour Championship winner? Why can't there be a FedEx Cup winner? Why can't there be a Player of the Year? Like, it's okay. Like, look at baseball. I mean, look at all the other sports where you have regular season winners, you have postseason, you have different things like AL, NL. Like, it doesn't all have to be just come down to one guy, and we're gonna have him start one of the most interesting events of the year on one of the best courses of the tour. It's just weird to have that staggered start. I don't know. I just can't get over it, and it's definitely it's in my brain now.
What wasn't the year Tiger when Tiger won the Tour Championship? Wasn't Justin Rose the FedEx Cup champion that year too?
That sounds right.
Yes.
Right. So I mean, there you go. You got two different winners on a huge, biggest stage we've had in the Tour Championship. It's great for golf, but I'm too much of a traditionalist to like this format for the Tour Championship.
Yeah,
do you want to go back to where it was just the top 30? Do you like the fact that at least it's the top 30 FedEx standings, or do you want to go way old school and have it be money list, top 30 money list? Because that's what it was. That's what it was before. What, like 20 years ago?
I do like the top 30 part of it. I just want the top 30 to all reset and be like, all right, let's go play some golf. You 30 hammer this out and let's go.
It also puts a weird, just sort of, everyone's essentially rooting for whoever's number one going in to melt down, right? Because you want to watch some drama on Sunday. I like Patrick Cantlay. He's a likable, good player. But I was rooting for him the entire weekend to like quadruple bogey a hole and come back to earth. Like, oh my God, look at that ball going right off the tee. Yes, So it does it. I don't know, and I suppose there's probably people that would argue, well, yeah, but like you're rooting against a lot of people that have a lead on a Sunday if your favorite player is trailing, right? So what's the difference?
How about Cantlay on 17 on Sunday? He's got a 2-stroke lead over Rahm, and he hits that thing and immediately 4 right? Like laces out Dan, that thing is gone. And all of a sudden, the ball ends up like right on the edge of the fairway. You're like, huh? Like, how did, because it was like, oh man, this is really happening. And then, Rahm had a chance to pick up. I mean, they talked about at one point, it almost could have been a 3-stroke swing. Mm-hmm. He just missed the birdie putt, and Cantlay just makes the bogey save. And then on 18, I mean, if Rahm's ball flies another 1 or 2 feet further and doesn't land on that downslope, Rahm might have a tap in for eagle. But I was really impressed with how good of a second shot he hit, and then Cantlay just fired back. And they talked with Cantlay afterwards, and he said like he lives for this. He lives for under the pressure shots, which is like the exact opposite of how I feel. I go about my year all season long, and people are like, oh, Brad's down to a 1 handicap going into club championship. He had a and club championship comes, and all of a sudden I'm swinging, out of my shoes, falling over, snapping it left, pushing it right. Everything is just like I'm the anti Patrick Cantlay. Like the bigger the moment gets, the more I just cower.
Dude, this is is this one of the most. When you consider the money involved, which we can get to, the fact that this is the only tournament in the entire PGA Tour season where multiple times per hour they're making it very known on Sunday. One of these guys wins $15 million. The other ones are going to be fine, but there's a $10 million gap. Is there a more lucrative or successful back-to-back week in recent golf history than what Patrick Cantlay has done the last 2 weeks?
No, not even
think about what he's done. He's to win back-to-back playoff tournaments and bank, just in tournament winnings, bank like $16 or $17 million, right?
When they're talking about how this hole and this shot is costing $1 million, It's incredible. Like we talked about, like, it's okay. It's $7.5 million in just regular earnings this year. 15 million in annuity. I mean, what a hell of a year that this guy just had, and to do it all. I shouldn't say all because he deserved to get here, but to do it on like past few weeks, this is a feat. And that's the cool part about. And Brad, you and I have been talking about this for weeks now about how none of us were completely sold on the FedEx Cup when it first came out, but now that it's out there, it's very enjoyable because of stuff like this. It's Phil, where are you at with this, with the FedEx Cup here in general?
I think it's a blast. I honestly, like, I guess we haven't really talked about this, but when they first moved the PGA Championship back to May, I was like, I don't like that they're screwing with the golf. I don't like that they're. But now that you sort of see and there's been a couple weird COVID years here, but you've got I love that you've got this like 5-month window where you've got every month you've got Masters into PGA, into US Open, into the Open Championship, and then right into the FedEx Cup playoffs. It just feels like bang, bang, bang. Golf. This. All right, get the hot take police ready to pull me over here because I am a diehard baseball fan. But to me, between April and what are we, like first week in September, easily golf is more compelling than baseball. Easily. And that's the entire baseball
100%.
regular season. And I am a diehard baseball guy. Golf is more compelling than baseball from the Masters in April all the way through the Tour Championship first weekend in September. Fight me. I'm also talking to two guys who make their living in golf here. Like, oh yeah,
no, I
I can't fight you on that one because I agree.
And the whole concept was to let football have football, right? Like, football's gonna football. We're gonna stay out of the way of football. We're gonna hide. Like, every other year we're gonna come in with this little Ryder Cup that you can watch at the same time as you're watching football because it's just 24 guys playing. It's a nice little, a teaser to your...
in the background, yeah.
Yeah, you can have it on your other TV when Nance and Romo are going back and forth. But the reality is that they're just letting football have football, and I think it's great. The question I have for you two is, so you win this little $15 million FedEx annuity, okay? And... like, what does that look like? Do you get like a daily, like, does the FedEx guy come to your house each day, like with a paycheck? Do you get like one large FedEx paycheck a year? Like, how does that look? Is that direct deposit? Like, how does Patrick Cantlay, do you think he just says like, you know what? So it's 15 million annuity over the rest of my life. Yeah, why don't you guys just bring a check like every day? Just have the FedEx guy, when he's bringing like my Amazon stuff or my other packages, just have him bring the check.
I didn't know it was an annuity.
One big check.
I thought it was
annuity.
Okay,
so
explain.
Isn't that what we have? Isn't that what we have Yellen as a sponsor on this show?
we need Jarrett bad right now.
Because I've got no clue.
As far as I know,
I'm like Darko Milicic. I just have all of my net worth under my mattress. Like, it's enough to fit under a mattress. But yeah.
That's so. I mean, can you imagine though, like getting a paycheck? I mean, it comes from FedEx, right? Like, could you imagine if you're like, yeah, I like that, because you can get annuities different ways. Like, I like that weekly. Like, I like the big FedEx check weekly, like just someone brought to my house, or monthly, or I don't know. I just find it hilarious that you're getting a check from FedEx. It's super funny to me. Obviously, goes to show you why shipping prices are the way they are, because they're paying Patrick Cantlay. But
there's an article. This might be way out. I mean, this is a 14-year-old article from when the FedEx Cup playoffs first became a thing in 2007. And there's an ESPN.com article breaking down some of the FedEx Cup misconceptions. And again, this is 14 years ago. They say it is actually not an annuity. Sometime after the Tour Championship, the winner of the FedEx Cup will have $10 million at the time placed in his tour-based retirement account that's tax-free. The money can be invested in as many as 15 different options. So they're saying it's basically like a 401k match or something. Just a $10 million check.
So that's interesting. When was the last time you heard of a PGA Tour player going broke?
Yeah. By the way, it's your retirement account. You won't be able to touch this until you're like 60, or we're going to tax the hell out of it. So I can't quote the specifics on this, but like if you make a cut on the PGA Tour, you have money put into annuity into your retirement account. They have the best retirement funding in all of sports. And on top of their retirement funding, there's a tour for basically when you're supposed to be retired that you can go play and also make well into the six figures, right?
I thought that was your 401k was the Champions Tour. Hey, I wanted to retire at 50, so I'm just playing out here, and I'm only playing for $2 million purse a week rather than a $10 million purse. It is fantastic. It is. They do a really good job. I wish they could teach some of the other leagues how to do it right. Like I feel like there's just a lot of good money things that happen. And let's face it, like if you look at the amount of money that's in golf versus NBA, NFL, MLB, it's nowhere near the same. But obviously, like the program works. Nobody ever is filing bankruptcy. Knock on wood. Like I don't want to hear a bad story. Yeah. Well, Little John's got free college at Arkansas. He's going to be okay. He just started this week.
You know what's funny is I was looking at the money list, or just the money list of a tour event a few weeks ago, and I'm looking down and seeing like the winner's 1.7, and then it goes a million, it goes 700, 500, and I'm like, man, you finished 10th and you only made like 250. And then I had a little come to Jesus moment, and I'm like, oh wait, you just made 250 for a week.
Yes.
All right, we're okay.
You're talking about like the 30th place finisher in the Tour Championship,
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
With no danger of being cut, right? Because they don't do a cut.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good week. But the only problem is that you have to start at wherever you finished at for the rest of the year. Again, it drives me insane. Like, Eric Van Rooyen from the U, like he literally starts behind the 8 ball in this tournament because he just got into the field. Like, hey, welcome to the Tour Championship, and why don't you go ahead and meet us on the 9th green at 9? Because Patrick Cantlay and John Rahm are going to be sitting there laughing at you because you're only 200 to start the week.
Yeah. I will say, like last thought from me on the money side of this, I kind of wanted Kevin Na was on fire. And I kind of wanted Kevin Na to sneak up in there. I wanted Rahm to double bogey and Cantlay and have Kevin Na really feel the pressure of the $15 million potential payout. I wanted one more like Kevin Na, like a little nervous on the tee box, 45 seconds of waggles. I wanted one more pull the trigger. Come on, pull the trigger. One of the great.
I was about to say,
I wanted
do you really want to see? You really want to see Brad Cole on the tee box here? Because that would have been Kevin Na.
Pull the trigger.
In that situation.
If I was in that situation and people are sitting there, and again, this tournament tends to get a little bit rowdy in Atlanta, there would be guys that would definitely be like, okay, here's the deal. You have to finish a beer before he pulls the club back.
Yeah.
Or there's a penalty, right? And they just start chugging beers, get it done before I actually pull.
Yeah, split screen. Can David Bakhtiari chug 3 pints of beer by the time Kevin Na hits his tee shot? Go.
And by the time Aaron Rodgers can get his open.
Yeah,
it's. I tell you what, this is Purple Daily, right? We can start bashing the Packers.
Sure, absolutely, anytime. Yeah.
Man, it's so entertaining. So, Branny, if you get a $15 million check, we now know it's not an annuity, or maybe at least 14 years ago it wasn't. But let's say it's a $15 million check from FedEx. What's the first thing you're doing with that check? And again, remember, it's put into a retirement account, so we don't. That's just if you do want to get it out, you do have to pay a penalty probably, which not that much different than taxes. But if you're just like, okay, I got $15 million, it's burning a hole in my pocket. What are you doing with it?
Quitting my job and going to Disney World.
I like it.
What are you gonna do with the other 14 point? What's my math? $1 million.
Right.
And you're just gonna fast pass the rest of your life. You're just gonna fast pass it all day long.
Could you spend $1 million at Disney World in a day? You probably could.
Well, let's see.
A lot of bottle service at.
Let's see. Family of 4. So we got. Let's talk. We're 500 in for a fast pass for. No, we're way more than 500 those for the fast pass. So. Yeah, you could probably throw $1 million out a day at Disney World.
Brandy's getting the bottle service at Epcot around the world, drinking around the world. I love it. Phil, what are you doing if you win the $15 million check from the FedEx folks? What would you do? What would be the first thing you would do?
I've always said these are two sort of selfish things that myself and I would say my wife could partake in. I've always said if I stumble into a massive payday, like a lottery or, whatever it may be, I'm doing two things. I'm hiring someone to cook me 3 meals a day, healthy but nutritious and delicious. and private jet travel. I never want to have to sit in a middle seat. Love me some Delta, but I never want to have to play economy class roulette ever again if I win $15 million. I am flying private every single time.
I like it. It's the direction you gotta go. So now my question to you is, what do you think Patrick Cantlay is doing with not only the 3 to 4 million he made the last 2 weeks, but the additional 15 million? I mean, he's over at 22 million this year now, which is just insane.
Was he how many? He was probably flying private before this, right?
Yes.
How many guys on the PGA Tour right now are always flying private?
I'd say between
25, 30?
40 to 50.
Okay.
Yeah. Depending on.
You think it's 40 to 50%?
No, 40 to 50 players.
Oh, 40 to 50 players. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty low percent. I know a lot of them shared private.
Okay. Anyone that's consistently in the top 100 in the world is in those. Like, there's been guys I'm like, really? He's flying private? And it's like, well, he's along with so and so and so and so and so and so. And you're like, okay,
he's friends with Rory. Yeah,
he's a top 5 player in the world. He's a top 20 player in the world, and he's buddies with the 96th player in the world. And that's how this works. Like he's throwing 500 towards the pilot, but I know that the other guys are actually throwing 20 grand.
Like, if I'm looking at the world golf rankings right now, like Tony Finau. I know he just won his first tournament in a while, but that dude's always cashing big money, right? Like. Tony Finau probably flies private, right?
Absolutely not. Tony Finau is driving in a van across the country with his family, hitting every McDonald's that he can. Okay, so last week we talked about this. Phil, you didn't know this story. Guy goes out, wins his first true tour win. He won in Puerto Rico years ago, but that gets the asterisk next to it. So he wins at Liberty National, huge event. At 11 o'clock, he tries to go to Ruth's Chris. He can't eat. He gets a petite filet, he can't finish it. His stomach's churning, he's so jacked up, he's just ready to go, right? 3 a.m., he's like super hungry, doesn't know what to do, goes into the city, gets Mickey D's in New York City, 3 a.m., Tony Finau just won a $2 million check or whatever.
I love it.
Gets a Big Mac, a double quarter pounder with cheese, a large fry, 10-piece nuggets with sweet and sour, big glass of water, and an Oreo McFlurry, which is essentially my order on a Tuesday night. Like, that's kind of my go-to. So
dude,
it's not.
I had an Oreo McFlurry 2 nights ago for the first time in years. Just unbelievable purchase.
I tell you what, Tony Finau, that guy is a whole nother level, right? And so I started thinking about that. I'm like, man, food is obviously awesome, and we all enjoy it, as you can tell by all 3 of our physiques. And it's important. Food is important. But my question to you, Phil, being the Seattle citizen that you now are, and this is like the best food time of the year. Minnesota State Fair just finished today.
Wow, I love it.
If you get one food item at the Minnesota State Fair, I'm not talking about McDonald's anymore. If you're at the Minnesota State Fair and you only get to get one food item, where are you going?
All right. This is going to be very controversial. And I just want to say, before I answer this question, I want to pay my respects to all forms of Pronto Pup, corn dog. I'm in on Sweet Martha's, like, I am all about all of the traditional foods at the Minnesota State Fair, all right? There's a stand that's been there for about 16 years that I didn't try until 2 years ago. There was no fair last year. So the first time I tried this food item was in 2019 at the Minnesota State Fair, and I was like, this is amazing. How have I never experienced this before? And my friend that I was with is like, it's literally been here for 14 years, dude. 14 years. The pickle dog. It is a slice of pickle wrapped in cheese and pastrami, and it is glorious. And if you don't like pickles, cheese, or pastrami, it's unbearably disgusting, I'm sure. But I am in on all 3 of those things, and it is delicious, and it's one of the rare low-carb options at the Minnesota State Fair. And so you can basically eat keto and enjoy your day at the Minnesota State Fair. And so
this is a hot item. Like, this is heated.
It is not heated. It is a cold. I mean, it's a hot item in terms of there's always a line. But it's more of like a deli.
So the pickle's not heated.
Nope, the pickle is not heated.
Okay, then I might be able to get on board because I've got
cold
this
pickle.
I've got a weird thing with pickles. I think pickles are great. You put them on my sandwich heated at a restaurant. I'm not going to throw out names here that continually does it every single time, doesn't put it on their menu. It's awful. I can't get that smell out of my head. I can't get the taste out of my... Oh, my God.
Does it rhyme with
Cold?
Mick Bidet, the place that you're thinking about?
Maybe.
But I'm telling you, it's pickles, it's cream cheese, and it's pastrami. It's all cold, and it's all glorious.
Phil, basically what you
Oh.
just described was what I consumed on Thursday night at Nadine Babu's
The
her
tailgate?
tailgate, the Minnesota sushi with cream
Kind of,
cheese,
yeah.
pickle, and then the wrapped ham or whatever around the outside of it.
Yep, it's pretty similar. Yeah. Yeah, and those are, if I remember right, those are more like of course, sort of finger foods, right?
Yeah,
this
there's
is
a
the full
toothpick in
boat,
there.
man. Like this is like a sandwich size. I'm not going to do it on camera because there's no way to do it without looking weird, but it's very good.
Oh man! So there is a place that we became obsessed with about 6 years ago. It's a pretzel dog. So it's like a pretzel place.
Here for that.
But they take a hot dog on a stick. They wrap it in a warm pretzel, like almost like a croissant type wrapping, and then you can either get it coated in butter or queso. And as much as I love butter, I feel like the queso hides the butter, so you don't need to kill yourself twice. So you just get the queso. It is so flippin' good, and they are fantastic. So that's a kind of unique, off the beaten path, similar to yours there. And I feel like Branny is just like the classic, like, get me 4 Pronto Pups and all the ketchup I can handle, and I'm all in. Branny, what's your...
You know what's it's funny you say that, Brad? I hate ketchup. I can't stand ketchup. But here's the kicker. I love shrimp cocktail sauce.
Wait,
You throw a
are you
bunch
putting
of
shrimp cocktail
horseradish-
sauce on a Pronto Pup?
You put a bunch of like shrimp. You put a bunch of horseradish and ketchup. I'm all in. I'll put on damn near everything. I love it so much.
I'm a horseradish
Pronto
guy
Puffs.
too. Yeah,
Oh,
here for that.
so good.
So,
Horseradish-
Brandy, what is it about ketchup that you don't like? Is it because it's not as good as the salsa at Chili's, or like what is the issue that you have with it?
You really want to get the salsa at Chili's controversy argument here?
Phil, earlier in the year, Brandy stated, and Jarrett Yalen still can't get over it. Brandy stated that the best salsa, like we were talking about like local Mexican restaurants are the best salsa, and he goes, "You know who's got the best salsa? Chili's."
Dude, I got to be honest. Chili's does have amazing salsa.
Right?
Unbelievable
Right?
salsa. So my wife and I would frequently, we would go, so the closest Chili's to us was the one in Roseville. Yeah, because we lived over
Yes.
sort of toward downtown Minneapolis. And so we would do like once a month, we would do chain food date night. And so, you know, once every 3 or 4 cycles, Chili's would pop up on chain food date night. And sometimes all you need is like a 2-for-1 drink and the free chips and salsa, and then maybe one other food item that you can split. You know, I'm here for it.
When you have 2-for-1s all day, every day, and they're chips and salsa,
How do they make
which
how
are
do-
very
Yeah.
well, yeah. First of all, they don't make any. I don't know how they. Well, yeah, they make tons of money off of us, but their chips, the salt on the chips, the sauce.
Dude.
Brad, this is not my local business of the week, but I'm gonna go back Chili's again. It's the best salsa in town.
Okay, well, it's interesting because Chili's isn't really a local business, so we're going to let you go on that one. But this is a great time as we're talking about
My
salty
local
chips.
business
It's,
of the week,
it's
yeah.
local to me. It's down the road.
Home Depot, local business of the week.
I really like what they're doing at McDonald's. Chips and salsa. People are essentially salivating as they're driving down the road. If you're not driving down the road, go home, sit down, go in the fridge, get an ice cold Corona Premier. Corona Premier is a sponsor of 10,000 Swings and sounds really good with chips and salsa right now. That might be my late night snack, or at least my first late night snack of the evening. You know, there's usually one or two, which is again the reason why I look the way I look. But Corona Premier, try it out today. It doesn't need a lime. It's delicious, low carbs, low cals, all those great things. Try it out today. Corona Premier, proud sponsor of the show. And again, I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I'm gonna say it probably tastes pretty awesome with chips and salsa. And I might have to do Might have to do a little investigative work later tonight just to confirm that. So, man, we really got down a path. This is, thank you for listening to this podcast. This podcast is actually called 10,000 Calories Per Day. Yeah. We enjoy everyone, all of our supporters out there. I'm going to probably need some sort of a self-help class as the winter happens and I'm not playing 1 or 2 rounds of golf a week and I'm getting literally 0 calories burned. So, man, this is, I love this time of year for eating and I don't know why it is. Like, it's football season. So you're starting to try some new nachos and new dips. There's a lot of stuff there. Phil, if you had to pick a favorite dip for watching sporting events, what's your like you're watching the Solheim Cup today, you're back and forth, like are the Americans going to do it, are they not, are they, are we going to get some karma because of that baloney call on Saturday? Like, what is your go-to dip while you're watching sports?
That's a great question. I feel like anything, I am a sucker for cheese, so I would say any sort of cheese-based dip, but usually this is more of a Super Bowl answer for me, but the buffalo queso, like chicken dips that people put together, I have a friend who just throw it in a crock pot. I'm here for that all day. There's also just the old school, is it the Old Home, like sour cream and chives, like with the ruffled chips, and then check yourself into a hospital after. I'm here for that too. Yeah.
I love that Phil is showing his age by saying, I'm a sucker for cheese, because he started that off very much like it was a Nelly song. I'm a sucker for cornrows and manicured toes. And then he went straight to, but now I'm in my mid-30s, so I'm a sucker for cheese. It's, may or may not be a billboard that I've seen driving through Wisconsin at some point.
I love that's what you're driving through Wisconsin. They literally just have signs that are 100 feet in the air that just say cheese in block letters.
Well, and down below it says fireworks as well. Let's give them credit.
We got an exit here, honey. Let's go.
As you're driving over to the 2021 Ryder Cup, make sure you get a healthy amount of cheese, fireworks, and spotted cow. Enjoy your trip.
Yeah, fireworks are all 75% off too.
Brandy, go-to dip watching sports?
All right, go-to dip. I got 2, and it depends on which route I'm going.
Tell me it's chili salsa.
Well, I'm going to leave that one out because it doesn't. Their queso, though, is amazing as well, by the way. Tostitos cheese dip is amazing. $2.79 at Cub Foods. But I do have a mean Jimmy Dean's spicy sausage recipe that I love to make. Put in the slow cooker for about 6 hours, and that's the tailgate special. Oh my god, you don't need a meal. That's your meal,
dude. It sounds like about 2,500 calories and a trip to the hospital. So,
dude, it's nowhere close to 2,500 calories. You're talking like 6 to 8.
So, as we get back to the golf chatter, there was more golf this week, and the Solheim Cup. So, it was really interesting on Saturday. We had a putt where I believe it was Nelly Korda, eagle putt, and the ball just went past the hole. It just missed. It was pretty clear that it missed. It sat what looked to be 2 to 3 inches off the hole, and the putt was conceded right away, and they moved on. And the rules official that was following the group said, hey, that ball was overhanging the edge. Because it was overhanging the edge, you have to give the person time to get up to the ball and then wait another 10 seconds before anything's done. And I don't know about you guys, but as much as I'd love to see USA win, I do believe in the rules, and I never saw where that ball was hanging on an edge. And it was interesting because that flipped that match and kind of flipped that day. The Ryder Cup and Solheim Cup are so based on energy and, one little thing that goes one way or the other. I was shocked to see that was the thing that happened, and surprised that there wasn't more said by people that, hey, this doesn't feel right. And Nelly Korda even, she didn't really want it. It was really weird. What did you guys think about that and then the rest of the event?
Shouldn't you be able to decline that if you choose? Shouldn't that be brought to the attention of both teams? And then if you're the potential beneficiary of the call, then you can decline it if you want to. It's just, and I get that there are parameters that you have to abide by. Totally understand that. It just seems like such a weird circumstance that both teams didn't want that to be called, so to speak. And I just feel like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Dustin Johnson grounding his club at the PGA Championship, was it, in like 2009? Where it's just like, oh my God, this is golf coming in here. That's a little apples to oranges, and then that was, I think, a spectator on TV had called in something, But golf, sledgehammer to a gnat is what I'm saying here.
Spectators, in my opinion, should never be allowed to call in anything. Dustin Johnson needs to read the hard card and the rules before he starts a tournament, because that was in there.
That's fair.
This, in my opinion, it was BS. And both teams came out and said it. Basically, like, no, this is not right. This is match play. This is the Solheim Cup. I always go back to, it's the integrity of the game of golf. And let's not let minute rules ruin that to me.
Don't you think that was part of the point of all of the rules changes a couple of years ago?
Yes.
To try to get rid of all of, like the spike marks and all the different things. Like now, really, to me, the last one that still needs to be changed is a divot, right? You hit the ball in the middle of the fairway. In the rough, don't hit it in the rough. That's on you. That's your deal. But if you hit the ball in the middle of the fairway and you're in a divot, why can't you move it 6 inches? Like, who cares? Like, let's get past this whole... We constantly are getting better at like allowing more people to think that golf's not as goofy as it is. But like, let's stop having bad rules. And I don't know. To me, this one is one of those ones where like, no, I'm not going to accept that because the ball was not going in the hole. Like, couldn't you just have an asterisk to that rule that says if the player says, you know what, it wasn't going in, they weren't intentionally trying to whatever, like. The ball was not going in the hole. It was very clear. Yeah. And the person making that call was not up in the booth. They were on the ground.
You know what this is? All right. This is in baseball. If, let's say you hit a fly ball to the outfield and there's a runner on third base, center fielder makes the catch, guy from third base tags up and scores. If you're the fielding team and you thought that guy left early from third base, you have to, let's say the umpire saw it. The umpire can't say anything unless you ask the umpire for an appeal. And then you literally have to like stand on the mound, step off, and it's super weird. You have to throw it over to the third base and step on the bag, right? But that umpire sits there in silence, knowing that guy left a half step early. But such a ticky-tack thing. I'm not even going to bring it up unless the team that could benefit brings it up, right? Like right. It should almost fall in a bin like that where, oh, that was interesting. If I'm a rules official, oh, that was interesting. Huh, like that ball was on the lip. But if neither team cares, I'll just take this to my grave.
Just say nothing. And that's the thing. Like another one I hate, Phil, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. Brandy and I have seen it. We've got specific instances where people we know have done this to people and it's hurt them a lot. Watching someone tee off ahead of the marker.
Oh, God.
And watching them do it and then calling it afterwards. Because here's how I handle it. If I see you do it, I'm not saying anything. Either I'm going to let you have those 4 inches, or I'm going to catch you before you pull it back. Yeah. But like if I'm looking at you hitting a shot, and I watch you do it, and then I tell you afterwards, oh hey, by the way, that's a penalty. Shame on me. Like, come on, we're out here trying to there's a competition. We all want to play our best, but. The reality is that teeing off in front of the markers is not worth the penalty stroke. Yeah. And so the 4 inches that you get in benefit are 2 inches or 6 inches, whatever it may be. Like, come on. I know people are human. They make mistakes. Like, I hate that stuff where you come and get someone afterwards. Like, hey, David, nice round today. But did you notice that you didn't putt out on hole 2? And actually, we're going to have to disqualify you because you just signed I let you sign your scorecard incorrectly. I didn't sign it. I watched you do it. And now my team is going to beat your team at the section championship because you did that incorrectly. Have a good day, though. Promote the game of golf. Like, come on, people, be decent human beings.
Yeah, the gotcha thing, yeah.
So I love the word you just said, gotcha. So I've been involved with PGA Junior League playoffs now here for the last month. And Frank, who is the regional director, he's got Iowa, Dakotas, I believe, Colorado, Nebraska. He calls these gotcha moments, and he's eliminated them. Like, it's a scramble format. It's 2-person scrambles. But if let's say you and Brad, you and I, or Phil, you and I putt up and we instinctively go to tap in that 2-inch putt, but your partner hasn't finished, you're good. Doesn't matter. We're getting rid of gotcha moments that are just dumb, or otherwise that would have automatically counted your score.
Yeah.
And golf needs more of that when it comes to this type of stuff. Like, we talk all the time about growing the game of golf, and growing the game of golf needs that versus let's shove rules down your throat.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
I totally agree with you. And when we start talking about having fun with golf, I'd like to give a nod of the hat to Joaquin Niemann this week. So I believe the previous record for pace of play at the Tour Championship by oneself was set by Kevin Na at hour 58, I believe.
Pull the trigger.
And Joaquin Niemann yesterday, I believe, was 153. And they showed him, like, he played it an hour 53, but he was literally jogging in between shots. And he had fans out there with him. It was like a Forrest Gump type moment, right? And there's like 30 or 40 fans that just jogged around with him. They just went out and did some Sunday morning yogging with Veronica and Ron Burgundy. You know, like, it was so good. And I'm like, this is what golf needs. Like, Joaquin's like, yeah, I just had a nice little workout. You know, like, he's in the clubhouse before the leaders even, you know, got to the range yet. I thought it was so cool. I was like, this is what we need, is that type of stuff, because golf should be fun. And there's different ways to golf. And again, for people like me, I'm looking at them like, jogging, oh boy, that actually makes me, I'm out. But you know,
Brad's like, I just had my 8,000 calories at the state fair, and now you want me to go jog and watch this guy play golf?
I'm thinking
not happening.
I'm thinking about Brandy's tailgate special, you know, getting me above 250 for the first time this week, and you know what that's doing for my personal health. And the hour 53 jog on the golf course isn't really what I was imagining, but I thought that was cool. Like, it's just they're having fun out there, right? These guys are doing good, fun things, and let's keep moving in that direction. So this whole Solheim Cup thing just bummed me out, because I love the Solheim Cup. I think it's a great event. It was cool seeing Bubba out there supporting the gals, and it was cool seeing like Amanda Balionis was out there just as a starter, as a friend of the team. Like, it just cool to see the direction that golf is going. So I feel like when we have these little moments like that, and someone's watching on their couch and they're like, "Oh, this game's terrible," like you can't do that to them, you know, like that.
Golf, like, keep getting rid of stuff like that. Keep working on pace of play. You know, I love you can leave the pin in now, and it's socially acceptable. And like, I'm talking about both on tour and off tour. But in general, I think golf feels like it's a fun, good spot. There's always a worry when Michael Jordan retires. Where's the NBA going to be at, right? Like when Tiger Woods, you know, is injured and then comes back and then gets in a car accident, like, where's the sport going to be? It feels like there's enough characters. There's certainly enough skill. I generally like the TV presentation. Could probably swap out some of the old commentators for some new ones at some point. All due respect to Paul Azinger and Nick Faldo, but it's like at some point, that's one of the problems with golf is like it's still the same TV presentation in terms of the commentators as it was like 20 years ago, because it's pretty rare that a guy, David Duval is like the closest example. Like, you're not going to hit the broadcast booth unless your career fizzles out until you're like 60. And so I think my biggest complaint about the presentation of golf would be, can we get more young voices in the broadcast booths that have credibility and they can make it fun, and the TV product a little bit more fun to watch.
And that's what I think when you have Colt Knost and Amanda Balionis and even Bones, like, there's some nice little injection of some life, right? And I've enjoyed what Dottie's done. Like, it's nice to kind of change it up. I still think that if I was to listen to a golf telecast, if I could have no one in the booth, and just David Faraday on course, just saying the things that David Faraday says might be like the absolute perfect. But we talked last week, Brandy, about like SVP. If we get more SVP in golf, like,
dude, I'll take SVP all day long on everything he does. Brad, with that said, so Morgan Pressel was involved in the Solheim Cup. Was she on air or just Golf Channel? I'm
not sure.
Because she's got to be what, like 31, 32, 33?
Yeah. I think she's closer to our age. Yeah, like mid 30s.
Yeah.
So I
No,
mean, I thought that was a step in the right direction for the Solheim Cup. But Phil, I think you're right. Golf has made small strides to do things better for broadcasts, but the broadcasting itself it's got to move.
I will say, I love now NBC has sort of this power tandem of Mike Tirico and Dan Hicks, and it does feel like a big fight every single. I mean, those guys are when I hear Dan Hicks or I hear Mike Tirico, I'm like, oh, this is a big event. And when you put them both on the same broadcast, it is a blast to hear those guys for sure.
No, that's good stuff. As we start to look forward to, the rest of what happened this weekend, I do want to let our listeners know that 10,000 Swings is brought to you by PXG. So it's the end of the season. If you're thinking about maybe getting some new clubs still, maybe you got some trips coming up or you're a big fall golf person, Parsons Extreme Golf got great new clubs available, Gen 1, 2, 3, and 4, wedges, hybrids, fairways, the whole deal. And drivers ready to go right now in Southdale at the new store. So go check out Parsons Extreme Golf and give them a shot today. They've got a lot of great options, and they've been able to ship product fairly quickly, which has been an issue with a lot of vendors. So if you do have the itch and you want to play right away, they can get you new sticks right away and get you something ready for the winter. As we transition to the rest of what happened this week, the Korn Ferry Tour Finals. So one of my favorite things about golf, I know it's kind of goofy, but I love watching the cut line. I love watching who are the 125 guys that get to keep their jobs next year, and who are the guys that don't get to keep their jobs, and who are the guys that are coming in and out. So we've got the Korn Ferry Tour Finals happen this weekend, and you have guys like Mito Pereira that already got promoted because of his 3 wins. You got guys like Will Zalatoris that got promoted because of his wins, but he doesn't get any FedEx Cup points, but that's a whole nother bag of issues. But you're looking at these guys that come through, and it's amazing how many of these guys, Phil, you look at, you're like, haven't I heard of him before? Hasn't he done this before? Joseph Bramlett comes out as number 1. I'm sure this guy was a PGA Tour rookie 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. He's 33 now. Trey Mullinax, I know he's definitely played plenty. Bronson Burgoon played this year at TPC Twin Cities in the 3M Open. Christian Kazuntait from South Africa, he officially gets his card. JJ Spahn back on tour. It's really John Huh back on tour. He's 31.
So
Lucas
wait,
Herbert.
so explain this to me, because I only pay attention to the top 30 to 50. Okay, I'm not slumming it around the 125 mark. Okay, I'm a golf elitist, if you will.
So what you're saying is you only want the guys that fly private jets, not the guys that fly commercial.
In fact, let's get back to that conversation before the end of the show too, because I have a couple questions about Scotty Scheffler. Is that dude on a private jet? Probably getting there. Are the top 125 in the FedEx Cup standings keep their tour card, and then everybody else is up in the air, or how does this exactly work? And then Korn Ferry, how many get in from Korn Ferry?
It's the PGA Tour money list, correct, Brandy?
The money list?
Their card?
It's the money list, and so top 125 keep their card, and then was it 125 to 150 have conditional, and then it's after that they have, and I could be slightly off on this, then they have to go back to the Korn Ferry Tour. This has all changed so much since they basically got rid of Q School, and they made the Korn Ferry Tour the Q School.
Makes sense.
So now you have to play on tour. You have to make your cut, and there's just I'm gonna forget the guy's name. I already forgot the guy's name. Someone just missed on the Korn Ferry Tour again by for his 4th time by a shot.
Oh,
and
it's, if you read into this, they're actually talking about doing some Netflix stuff, I believe, on some of this, come behind the scenes, because there's a lot of really intriguing stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, think about this, Patrick Rogers. Okay, Patrick Rogers, Phil. You know who that is. I mean, he's probably flown in a few private jets. And, Kira Detch, Barnrat, the Barnrat. These guys are guys that have all made quite a bit of money. And they're literally fighting for their lives every year. And the really interesting story is that Eric Van Rooyen from the U, Freddie as we know him, guy literally was outside the top 125 a month and a half ago. Goes to the Barracuda, which was, an opposite WGC week, wins the Barracuda, and then gets a whole bunch of top 10s. basically runs the tables, made over $2.2 million for the year instead of the $600,000 that he was at going into that.
Yeah.
And not only, I mean, he's got all sorts of status, everything's all good. He was staring Korn Ferry Tour finals right in the face.
So I just pulled up the money list here too, and it goes down like 300 some. So guys outside I'm going to go just guys outside the top 150. Patrick Harrington 151. Steve Stricker only played 11 events, but Steve Stricker 152. I'm assuming he must have some exemptions if he wants to. Like if he wants to play in some tournaments on the PGA Tour, he shouldn't have a problem, right? He's Steve Stricker.
Well,
how does that
so
work?
there's the other caveat when it comes to the PGA Tour is sponsors exemptions.
Yeah.
And everyone else that like Steve Stricker, yeah, he could probably get a phone call and get into most tournaments.
Well, there's also an all-time money list, Phil. So it's really confusing as you look at these fields of 144 or 156 every week, because everybody's got, like, if you look at how they get in the field, and Rob Bolton does an incredible job for PGAtour.com of breaking down like the field each week and how everyone got in. Like, if you really want to nerd out, you can see all the different like medical exempt status from 2019 and
Blackmail.
Right.
Has been seen taking tournament execs to certain golf courses that very few people can get on. You know, there's a few of those stories out there. So
What about so Jason Duffner was a fairly big name 10 years ago. Jason Duffner played 29 events. So he was playing basically every week and still finished 164th on the PGA Tour money list.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he was hunting and fishing more than he was playing.
He'll probably have some conditional. He'll probably have some different, sponsors, etc. Because he's not a bad guy when you're looking to fill out your field. When people don't know people's names and like, oh yeah, we'll give spot number 142 to Jason Duffner,
dude,
right?
Heinrich Stenson played 18 events. Heinrich Stenson. I mean, he was legitimately one of the best 5 players in the world at one point. I don't think it's hyperbole to say that.
No, 100% he was.
And he finished 189th on the PGA Tour money list this year.
Yeah, it's and again, you have to remember too, with everything happening in Europe as well, right? Like these guys that are playing a full Europe schedule, it gets tricky. Like even Tommy Fleetwood was done early, but he took second this week in Europe, and he's got, they've got different status from different things. There's official world golf ranking status. There's a ton of different, even just like taking top 10 in a major gets you different. Like there's so many different ways to be able to show up at a tournament, but it's fascinating to me. And yes, I do take a lot of interest, Phil, in the guys that aren't able to get on the private jets because, I enjoy the guy that might be next to me, in row 36, going from event to event, just trying to make it.
All right, Billy Horschel. Billy Horschel. Is that guy flying private?
He's
sure.
flying private.
He makes a lot.
Here's what I'll leave this. So, like, as much as there's so many ways to get into the PGA Tour events, the amount of exemptions and the amount of ways to get in has also, in my opinion, screwed over the mini tours and the young guys trying to get into these events, and it's not allowing them to make their steps into the big stage. So you've got thousands of people out there that are riding these I'm not going to say low tours, they're still legit tours, but they're mini tours and they can't get into big events. They can't get their break because of all of this. And I think if the PGA Tour is willing to throw out $40 million for likeliness for their top 5, whatever it is, players, let's throw some money at the younger guys too, and let's get these younger tours some opportunities. You're
kind of saying and I'll throw one more example out there. So Jim Furyk played 7 events, and he did. I mean, I don't have his. He made $200,000 in 7 events. There's a lot of guys that play 20 events to get to $200,000, right? But and he's, actually, didn't Jim Furyk shoot a 59 2 years ago? So this might be a bad example.
Do you know where Jim Furyk ranks on the all-time money list?
Probably top 7 or 8, number 2.
I think he just got bumped out of 2, Brett. I might be wrong, but I think he just got bumped out of 2. He's now 3.
So that's a bad example. But a name like a Jim Furyk. If you're named in your tournament, you're the Valspar or whatever. You're looking for someone that if someone's reading through it, well, let's take the 3M Open. 3M Open, you're going to look at a list of names locally and say, okay, What's going to get me to go watch the 3M Open? And there's going to be 3 or 4 big household names. You're hoping DeChambeau plays it, right? But like a name like Jim Furyk might be one of 5 names that catches your attention, or 10 names or whatever, over unknown guy from unknown tour. But I understand Brandy's point in that, like, you want to keep pumping young players in, the Will Zalatoris's and the Matthew Wolfs and dudes like that, right?
It's got to be a blend.
You're taking spots away from kids, not even kids. I think you're taking spots away from people that are deserving of those spots. Now, with that said, there has to be a balance, because those guys have also deserved this. They've earned it. Like, hey, you have a good career in anything you do, you deserve it.
No, I totally agree with you. And as we look at like the breeding ground for these mini tours and for the PGA Tour, I think it's a really good time for our listeners to be reminded that this is the week. This is the Gopher Invitational. And the Gopher Invitational has become a breeding ground for the PGA Tour. I believe we're now at 29 players that have played in the Gopher Invitational that have earned their PGA Tour card in just 15 years of the tournament. How cool is that? And we've got it right here, Winsong Farm. Awesome golf course in Independence, Minnesota. Fans, please go check it out this week. It's going to be a great event. It's this coming Sunday and Monday. I believe they still need some volunteers as well, so contact the U if you're interested in volunteering. But you've got players, all sorts of different levels of tour players like Colt Knost, Andrew Landry, Donald Constable, Eric Van Rooyen, Harry Higgs, my guy.
Doppelganger.
Corey Connors, Max Homa, Bryson DeChambeau, Abe Answer, John Rahm, Colin Morikawa. I mean, it's incredible what this event has produced. And so it's really cool that that's happening right here in our backyard, Phil's former backyard. And just a really cool event. And one thing they do with this event that you don't see with a lot of other college events, because of the relationship with Winsong Farm and Pioneer Creek, they actually have Pioneer Creek's the course across the street, Phil, the public course, and it's the brother owns Winsong and the sister owns Pioneer Creek. They actually have D2 and D3 players playing across the street and individuals. So it's kind of like the tournament within the tournament. It's kind of a cool way to kind of showcase and like get some different experience for some of these, whether it's a St. John's or a Gustavus or Mankato. To kind of go out there and get to play at that type of level with the best college talent in the country right there. So cool event and cool breeding ground. It's amazing to see that of all places, a Minnesota college golf tournament has had that much talent come through. But you normally think it's always going to be California, Arizona, Florida, right? Like it's not. But we're doing some good things with the U. It's cool to see.
Love it. Underrated golf hotbed, baby.
You know it. So. And actually, Phil, I don't know how much you've been paying attention with Gopher basketball, but Ben Johnson's already inked 3 Minnesota guys in class of 22.
He has equaled the amount of Minnesota-born players or high school players on the last Patino team now. Dead serious. I think we had 3 Minnesota players on last year's Gopher basketball team. Wisconsin, by the way, has like 9 Minnesota players on it, so
yeah,
it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, they've done a good job.
We go a different direction with that one.
Yeah, exactly. So before we wrap up this week, we got to talk about local businesses that we've supported. Brandy, you got any local businesses you want to start off with that you were able to support this week?
Yeah, so are we official that Chili's does not count?
Correct. That's officially a chain. Yeah.
Okay. Archie's Steakhouse in Lamar's, Iowa, Lamar's is also the ice cream capital of the world, where Kemp's is at. This is your old school traditional supper club, and you want a ribeye steak for like $26. It's going to blow your mind. This is where you go. And by the way, the ribeye steak's going to come with some fries. It's going to come with a salad. It's going to come with bread. It's going to come with
the horseradish.
I mean, oh my God. Oh, yes, horseradish. And it's the most, I love these old school places. Like, I love the old school cafes in Iowa to start with. Like, you said to me to get a hot ham and cheese at a cafe for lunch in Iowa, and I'm all in. But I love these old supper clubs. They're amazing. So Archie's in Lamar's, Iowa is my local business of the week.
Nice. I like it. Phil?
I'm going to support, I'm going to give some love here to a business that's been supporting Purple Daily. and it's Moon Motorsports in Monticello. And so I used to play, and I went to high school in Buffalo, which is a neighboring city of Monticello. We used to drive by Moon Motorsports, I feel like, on the way to high school sporting events. We used to play Monticello, and they would beat us almost all the time. But I feel like I'm doing an ad right now. But if you're into, like with winter on the horizon, if you're into any sort of power sports, whether it is snowmobiling or four-wheelers, side-by-sides, whatever it is, the largest selection in the entire Midwest region. So Moon Motorsports, if you're looking to get out and have some fun in the fall and the winter, go check them out. They support Score North and Purple Daily, so support them, please.
That's awesome. I took my 2-year-old, he's almost 3, 2-year-old, play a round of golf at the Rum River Hills Golf and Yacht Club the other night. And after we finished our round, we actually went to the eatery on site, McDuff's, and we ordered and split a chicken tender basket with tots. And the chicken tenders were served with honey mustard. Tots were ketchup. My apologies, David. And it was one of those moments where it was just kind of like, it's just the simple things in life. It's 75 degrees. You're sitting outside with your kid eating chicken tenders and tater tots. And you're like, this is about as good as it gets. And, it's kind of fun. It was like, it's kind of dorky, but I was thinking as I was looking back on the week, I'm like, that was a fun little local business to support, and that's, again, right there on the golf course. If you're ever looking for a good spot to have a cold beverage, a nice cold, ice cold Corona Premier, and heckle the golfers, it's always an option there right off of 47 in Ramsey once you can get through the current road construction, because that's, Phil, the 2 seasons of Minnesota, you have winter and road construction. So
yes, of course.
We're full road construction right now. The ground has thawed from the winter, and they're nervous about the next winter coming soon. So every road's closed everywhere. It's really fun.
All right,
Kevin. Brad. The funny part about that though is you kind of hit these stages in life where it's like, okay, I'm married. Yeah, I might have young kids, but I'm going to eat some good food. We're going to eat out. We're going to have fun. And then I was like, wait, it's like kids are like 3 and 4. They want chicken tenders. They want some fries. I'm like, oh, wait. This is pretty damn good too. Like we kind of, it's just a circle of food that we go through.
Brandy, I made steaks, asparagus, and potatoes tonight on the grill. My wife and I did, and our son wanted nothing to do with steak, but yet ate every morsel of deep fried chicken tenders and tater tots. So
the mini corn dogs were great later on, though.
Let's go.
All right. Does Kevin Streelman fly private?
Ooh.
Yes. You know why? Because he's a member of Whisper Rock. And he has other buddies that are footing it. And then he throws in like some extra gas money. Like the other guys are like, hey, this is our jet, this is our guy, and he's like, hey, I'll just throw you like $1,000, $2,000, and they're like, okay, that's cool, Streels, yeah, that's good, buddy.
Yeah, no, Bert, he's the timeshare flyer. He just hops on other people's jets and like,
and hey, everyone kind of resents him for it. Everyone's like, oh god, did Kevin 100%. Text you too? Oh, god.
I'm telling you, Phil, there's like 20 guys on tour that actually have like a whole jet deal, right? But those guys don't want to fly by themselves, so they've got another 20 to 30 guys that are like in their corner, and that's who they fly with. And they're like, hey,
did Schwartzel checks you? Did Schwartzel reach out? God, he's always mooching off these private jets.
To give an example,
Charlie Hoffman. God, did Charlie hit you guys up again?
Like Matthew Wolf had a private home for the 3M Open, but he had some old teammates that were bunking on him for the whole week. Like Wolfie flipped that bill.
Dude, some of these guys that came in, was it I'm trying to think of the last for the Ryder Cup. These stories about like Tiger Woods coming in, or I'm going to rent for a week and a half or 2 weeks. I'm going to rent a place on Lake Minnetonka, which is, that's pretty normal, right? Just like rent a big ass home. No. And I'm going to get rid of all of the furniture and replace it with the new furniture, and then replace that furniture back like no one was ever in the house. Like that's psycho. That's when you don't know what to do with the money that you've made in your life, I guess.
So tour players get a request list when they have homes that they rent. And they get to request the size of bed that they want, and they get to request what they want in the house. it is pretty ridiculous when you get up to those higher levels. And major championships, when we go to like the Ryder Cup, anything that's at Hazeltine, is always the Bear Path community. And Bear Path pretty much gets it all. And there's actually some cool stories behind it too, of like lemonade stands, like when Tiger's out running in the morning and he stops by. So there are some funner moments about it. But yeah, when you get to start requesting like what size bed you want in your private home.
Could you imagine, man. By the way, could you imagine having a lemonade stand and having Tiger run by and then Tiger drinks the lemonade and he's like, you know what? This is garbage. You need to work harder on your lemonade. This is too sugary.
As long as he's not driving by when you're on the corner, I think you're
right.
Could you imagine though, like Tiger Woods going
look out!
Going full Frank the Tank from Old School and like just screaming and yelling at him like, Blue, you understand that I don't want no ice cubes in my lemonade, sir? Yes, sir. Oh man, it's again, it's a whole different world they live in, right? Like when Brandy is talking about the requests they put in for like the bed size and this and that, and I'm like, yeah, well, Phil and I put in those same requests for our house, but we get what we get. Like, exactly. This is your actual budget, so thank you for your request, but your request has been denied.
I asked our landlord, can we move this like roll of carpet that's in the garage? He's like, no, you can just leave it there. Actually, all right, cool, we'll talk. Sounds good. All right, thanks.
Fun. Thank you.
Oh man. Well, we are going to end the show eventually here, so it's great to be back. Phil, thanks so much for coming on. Brandy, we appreciate you working through the keyboard issues that you had at the beginning, the voice issues. You're a true champion. You grinded it out great. And hopefully Huntington Bank Stadium will give you back your voice this week when you return. So,
by the way, just Huntington Bank does still like really
the bank. Let's just call it the
bank.
It's the bank.
The bank.
Huntington Bank.
The logo's weird.
Did
you see the side of the stadium and how many letters they had to put up on the side to make that work?
It's like perpendicular and wrapping around.
I thought it kind of blended in with one of the county names, like
right.
Huntington.
Right?
Oh,
yeah,
right
is this a county or is this a stadium?
Yeah, it's right in between Anoka and Lochwee Parle. Yeah, it's priceless. So, well, thank you so much, Phil. We really appreciate it.
Good times, guys.
I'd like to thank our sponsors, Jarrett Yalen with Northwestern Mutual, PXG, the Meadows at Mystic Lake, and Corona Premier. As always, you can connect with us at 10kswings@scorenorth.com via email. Please subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Score North, and give us a 5-star rating. For episode 29, we will actually preview the Ryder Cup and the start of the 2021 and 2022 tour season. So 2021 and 2022 starts in another week here. We got the Ryder Cup right around the corner at Whistling Straits. A lot of good golf still to go, folks. And we have a lot of things that we didn't get to this week that we need to get to next week because we started talking about food. Until next week, friends, I'm Brad Cole.
I'm David Branstad.
And I'm Harold Varner III, and I fly private.
I love it.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yes.